Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Matthew Parker. I'm going to be doing a reflection on the Diane Heacock's book, Differentiated Instruction in the Regular Classroom. Um, I enjoyed the book. One of the strengths of this book, if you're looking at it, is the fact that it's got lots of really good printables in it. Um, it's got lots of good sample curriculum mapping activities as well. So that's a real strength of the book. But anyways, jumping into the PowerPoint here. Our diverse classrooms, I mean, as we well know, if you've been in a classroom in the past 10 years, you'll know that it's not a homogeneous population that are in their classrooms anymore. There's lots of ways that our rooms are different. We have kids of varying cognitive abilities, different learning profiles. A big one in the area that I'm in is the social, economic, and family factor. We got kids that are from a whole host of different backgrounds, and those socioeconomic family background things can really impact the students' learning style and willingness to learn. Diversity also comes through as readiness, whether it's how ready a kid is to enter kindergarten or how ready a kid is to start learning how to multiply. Learning pace, some kids pick stuff up fast and some kids take a long time. Trying to meet them where they're at can be a challenge when it comes to pace because there's so much that we're trying to get through. But then we got the cultural ethnic influences, which can obviously change the dynamics in the classroom. And then I really enjoyed the fact that the Heacocks included the confidence in learning because I see that as a under talked about or something that's not discussed as much as it maybe should be is that confidence in learning. We got a lot of kids that just don't believe in themselves, and that will in fact impact their learning in a negative way. So as a teacher, what do we differentiate? Well, we differentiate the content, the what are we teaching, we differentiate the process on how we're teaching, and we also differentiate the product or the end results that we're expecting to get out of our kids. The teacher's role, according to Heacox, is to provide and prescribe differentiated learning opportunities, organize students for learning, and using time flexibly. All those things takes time. If teachers going to be effective at differentiating their classroom, they're going to have to be effective at using their prep times and finding some collaborative partners within their school can also be a benefit. And for that matter, it doesn't necessarily even have to be someone that's in their building. I think that the resources are out there now on the internet to use some kind of a Skype or Google Hangout or something like that to bring professionals and like-minded people into your classroom to help you when it comes to the differentiating. But overall, when it comes to organizing the students for learning, that takes time to be able to break and tier your kids out appropriately. And I guess that's probably where they kind of build into to using the time flexibly. Next, and this is something that I really appreciated about the Heacock's book, was stressing the fact of encouraging teachers to get to know who your students are. What's their academic history? I think that it's a good idea that districts keep files with benchmarking data and notes on kids. So tracking and having teachers being able to take time to look at that academic history. And then, if you get a new kid or, it's the start of the school year, to get that student interest. And the book includes some really, really good surveys to get to know what the students are interested in, because as we well know, if we want to engage kids in learning, we're going to be best, we'll have more success if what we're trying to teach them is somewhere around their interest area. And then it goes to Gardner's multiple intelligence, taking the time to find out which modality is the preferred method for learning for your kids can be really beneficial. Something that I brought to our child study team actually yesterday was I just think that at any time that we're starting an initial evaluation for a kid, I think that student interest survey is something that should be actually part of the evaluation plan that's set forth, and also some kind of measurement of the multiple intelligence using one of the surveys in the books try to peg this kid as far as which modality they're going to learn best, and actually making that part of the evaluation plan, so we can have a better idea who this kid is that we're getting ready to evaluate for special education services. And I like this comment that Hecox had on page 59. While standards may direct your curriculum and focus your learning goals, how you teach those standards is still up to you. And that's a point that we've been trying to make to our staff this year is in Burndale, is like we're going through this exercise of identifying our essential learning outcomes, but we need to get those learning targets identified, and then we can spend our time figuring out how we're going to teach and how we can become more effective at delivering a more differentiated instruction and having a differentiated classroom to meet kids where they're at. Gardner's 9 ways of thinking and learning, I picked out 4 of them that I like the best. That it's important to remind our staff that all students have strengths in thinking and learning. It's just trying to tap it and figure out which one it is, where their strengths lie, so we can play to their strengths. Students learn and produce with greater ease when they're using an area of strength. That's pretty common sense, but then that goes back to the first part there, where we have to identify the strengths so we can build on their strengths. Number 3, asking students to work in ways in which they're less able helps them strengthen those intelligence and widen their learning repertoire. I think that's great to make kids step out of their comfort zones and challenge them. And the 4th part there, the more variety you offer students in the ways you ask them to learn and show what they have learned, the greater the likelihood of reaching more students. And I think if teachers make that a commitment, you'll have more well-rounded students as well at the end of the school year. Then it goes about talking about, this is organizing your classroom and 6 ways to structure tiered assignments. And I think this is a good slide because it shows teachers the variety of ways that they can tier things out, the challenge level, complexity of the assignment, the resources that are required to use or the resources that are provided to them. Changing the outcomes. I think that's okay to have different expectations on different students, the process of how you have them do it, and the end product. So this is a good slide just to remind us in the classroom teachers of the different ways that they can tier out those assignments. And then Hecox also goes into grading a little bit, and I think this is an important part where it gets missed a lot, but that giving specific feedback that's clear and concise. Anytime that you're giving a grade to a kid, they deserve to have that specific feedback that they can understand in kid language, so they can know what they need to do better or do differently. So I really like that part. And the grading should be a reflection of the high level expectations. And number 4 goes nicely with the first, with the specific feedback. Written as a positive statement. If a kid's receiving a lower grade, the best thing that you could do is try to make them feel positive about themselves in some shape or form. Find something that they did well to try to continue to build that self-esteem and foster that sense of confidence in learning. And the last part, and this is something that I brought to I team teach a 6th grade English class with the special education teacher in the regular education classroom. Questions to stimulate creative thinking. I think this was a really, really good part that Hecox had in there. The 4 different questions that you can ask: creative production questions, analogy type questions, reorganization questions, and viewpoint perspective questions. I really like that. I think that if you're able to get this in front of teachers, it's just another platform for them to figure out different ways to ask questions, different ways to try to access the student's knowledge. And these 4 different types of questions are a great way to do it. So that's what I have in my PowerPoint there. Heacock's book, again, I enjoyed the read. I more was interested in the printables that are included in the book. So there we have it.